And we are officially back. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are the sci-fi nerds, no longer the Godzilla nerds, but the sci-fi nerds. And I am one of the hosts. I am Donald.
Muted.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Am I still muted?
Nope, I can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me now. All right, let's read. Let's start that. We are the sci-fi.
Well, we got the nerds part right.
Oh man. All right. We are the sci-fi nerds, and we are back with another awesome movie review today. And I am one of the hosts. I am Donald.
I'm DJ.
DJ, and we are the partial sci-fi nerds. So we have a lot of things going on, and we're finally back. We took a hiatus, had a lot of things going on, but we are finally back. DJ, my man, how are you? By the way.
Doing good. Glad to be back. It's been a little while since we last saw each other, so looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, man, we're on for a great conversation. Let me see. We got the Facebook user in the house, my boys. What's up, man? Whoever you are,
Howdy,
reveal
howdy.
yourself now. I don't know who it is.
The mystery guest.
And we have the Kaiju World too. What is up, my man?
Hello.
He has like a million YouTube pages, but but today we will be discussing the Monster Hunter. This was a movie picked by the lovely Doris, who cannot be here with us tonight. But Doris, we got you. We're gonna make sure this review goes really, really well. This was actually my first time seeing the film, DJ. I
Mine
don't know if
too.
you saw. Oh, okay. So I will say this before we get into the review. It's definitely a movie that in my personal opinion, that I can watch again. I really enjoyed this movie from the beginning to the end. I thought it was really, really good. And we'll also be joined by Sir. Go ahead, DJ.
I was just gonna say, yeah, the trailers really didn't do it justice. Um, the because I remember when it was coming out, I saw the trailers and I was like, man, is this going to be just a bunch of soldiers running around in the Monster Hunter world trying to use their guns or whatever? Like they made it seem like that was going to be the whole movie, and
Right.
and so I was like, okay, whatever. So I didn't really think about it, but I found the Blu-ray on sale, so I was like, well, I'll pick it up just in case, whatever. And
Yeah,
so
it's a really awesome movie, really awesome, and that was boy Adrian, the disrespect Facebook. Yeah, Facebook tries, but we don't like the disrespect. Facebook, we can't be having that. Definitely can't be having that. Serge will be jumping on with us a little bit later. So we have the first question. So this, like I said, this is my first time watching this film. So at the beginning, I'm really really big on scenery. So I love the darkness. I love the clouds. I love the lightning. It was just awesome shot, and kind of see like a ship riding over the sand, and then to see something following right behind it. So I'm like,
yeah,
okay, this is already off to a pretty good start. And I love, and DJ, you know what? You made me a fan of movies starting off fast, right? Because we had the Cayman Rider, we had those, we had the Ultraman. Like all those movies start off fast,
yep,
and this movie started off pretty fast. Um, but we already saw the Hunter. We got to see the Hunter, and I think it the Admiral. It was either the Admiral, or the General we saw right offhand before the attack happened. Before we see Diablos actually. So I want to ask you, DJ, what was your biggest takeaway from the opening sequence of the Monster Hunter film?
um, so like I was mentioning, I thought it was just going to be a bunch of you know army grunts just running around shooting at things and stuff. So
Uh huh.
I was pleasantly surprised that they were, for the most part, staying true to kind of the world of Monster Hunter. The fact that the monster is actually under the ground, like how some of them do, and hunting them down, and they had the equipment and everything that looked genuine from the Monster Hunter world and stuff.
Hmm.
So to me, it was a really good opening, and set the stage that they were treating it seriously, or as seriously as they could. So
Yeah.
I appreciated that, and that helped me get into the movie and look forward to seeing what else happened.
Yeah, it helped me get into the film too because we saw a small glimpse of Diablo. Diablos.
Mhm.
And not only that, I thought they did a great balance of showing him throughout the film. Like they didn't
Mhm.
show him too little or too much. So I thought they advertised him really, really good. And you're right, DJ. The trailers definitely didn't do the film or movie any justice. But
Mhm.
just watching the beginning of the film, it was definitely great. And we have Sir. What's up, brother?
What's going on,
Awesome.
bros? How y'all
Yeah, how
doing?
you doing, man?
Good, good. Recovering.
That's good. Good. It's good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Oh,
Always.
it's good to be back. Good to be back. I wasn't gonna let this COVID get me down today.
Yep.
Good seeing you, man. Glad you can be here. I was just asking DJ, um, what was his biggest takeaway from the opening sequence of the Monster Hunter? Since that's what we're reviewing this week. So, what did you think about the opening sequence of the Monster Hunter, sir?
Oh shoot. Man, I got like bits and pieces of the beginning. I never actually got to finish it. You know what? Honestly, I was getting on right now, and I was thinking, I don't even know exactly what's on today, but I'm gonna get on. So just you can pass me over that guy. I'm not gonna be very good in that. I'm just happy to be here.
Okay, no, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. But yeah, we were me and DJ was
You
basically
tell me
talking
about it.
about yeah, we
We'll fill you in.
I know I wanted to see it. I remember seeing like
got a
uh
shout out, sir.
hey, what's up? I remember seeing like the first previews of it, and I thought it looks pretty interesting. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, not like I told you that this was my first time actually seeing the film, so I have to credit Doris with that. Um, but as even at the beginning of the movie, I didn't know that they were in separate worlds. They had their own worlds. So I guess at the beginning of the film, we see the hunter and I believe the admiral in their world because monsters are in their world. So
Mm.
we fast forward a little bit, and now we meet Natalie and her team. So it was Natalie, Dash. Um, I can't remember Ti's name. I can't remember his name, but I know the general was out there, and it was somebody else. But we finally actually get to meet her team, and so they're traveling. And what's crazy is they see the same exact storm that we see at the beginning of the film. And so they're trying to get away from this storm. This storm is coming in really, really fast. And when this storm, when the storm catches them, the storm obviously does something. And Dash, one of Natalie's members, she noticed immediately. She was like, "This lightning did something to us. We're not supposed to be here."
Mm.
And so at the beginning of the film, the hunter he falls off the ship, and once he fell off the ship, I thought his people was gone because like Diablos was kind of dragging the ship, and I'm like, well, he survived, but there go the rest of his friends, so they're gone, and so they end up, meeting the hunter back, and this time they have the first encounter with Diablos. So, DJ, we finally see Diablos in action. What was your first impressions and thoughts on him?
Um, yeah, definitely right out of the video game. You know, the one of the things about Monster Hunter games is the monsters will hunt you too, and you know, so um, so you have to be careful. Like, for the most part, you could kind of run around and do whatever you want to do, but once you get in their sights, it's you know sometimes they'll run away, but other times they're just like going to keep just pounding on you until until you die. Um, so yeah, they definitely uh, did him justice with you know stalking the group and everything. So yeah.
I'll say this. I loved his aggression. I loved his anger, and he had a few kills in that beginning sequence when he met Natalie's team. And when I saw his face, I was like, okay, this is yeah, he's an ugly monster, but that's how monsters should look. They should have a ferocious look about them, and so they did a
Mhm.
really, really good job with him. And I love the fact that he can burrow underground. And every time he burrowed underground, that's when the scenes got intense because they were driving away in the trucks, and you can kind of see how close he's getting to them. And they actually let him flip the cars a couple times, which I thought was cool, instead of it being some kind of cop out where they're driving and something happens and it prevents the monster from, doing what he does. But I thought the introduction, the full introduction to Diablos was great. And because they showed them so early and often, it actually kept me intrigued with the film. So I thought they did a great job. So Doris, thank you for introducing me to this movie, and I hope you're watching. And if you're not watching, I hope you get some time to watch. And if not, we understand. So it's all good. So
Oh, that's clear. No, I'm watching like some of it right now.
yeah, it's awesome.
Oh man, this is awesome.
And I think that they did pretty good, establishing his behavior and sticking to it.
Yeah,
He didn't like deviate and do something weird all of a sudden. It was like they established like he hunts underground, pops up when he feels like he's going to get the kill and stuff, and he stays away from the rocks. And they stuck to that.
Remember when Natalie threw that rock, so she was kind of seaweed.
Yeah,
Because
and that's very much like the movie Tremors too.
Tremors. That's exactly what I was thinking.
So, you ever see that, Donald?
I haven't seen that.
No.
Oh,
What?
I haven't.
Fail.
Okay.
Fail.
I know what we're doing next time.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. You know what? I'm actually after Doors, so that might be something I might want to review. Actually, I've never seen it.
Those movies
Giant
are fun.
sandworms eating people in a desert town.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
All right, so
Kevin Bacon.
Okay, so that'll be our next review then. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Yeah, that'll be the next review off top. That'll be a good one because I haven't seen that one.
Those are good. Those are old. Those are pretty
Yeah.
old. Right? I remember watching
they
those
just
in the
had
90s.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And it had the dad from what was it? The Growing? No, not Growing Pains. Was it Growing Pains? The one with Michael J. Keaton or Michael J. Fox.
Michael J.
What's his name? What's his name?
Adrian.
Something.
I was Burt Reynolds, but it's not Burt Reynolds.
No, the father was
Yeah,
something Gross. Michael Gross, I think, or something.
something like that. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe I just never knew his name, but yeah.
But
I've never seen it. So we're gonna review it. We're gonna review it next week, Adrian.
Stuck through for several of them. They've got like 5 or 6 of them now, and he like. Michael Gross,
was Kevin Bacon?
oh yeah, Kevin Bacon. Yeah, he was one of the main characters in it. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Some of the sequels are kind of weird, but the first one,
I stopped at 2.
yeah, that's what I did. But one of these days, I'll go back and watch the other ones just to see what they are.
All right, so I'll check one out. So I'll see. You know, I have another film in mind too. Decisions, man.
Now I need to catch up on Monster Hunter because I was interested, but then like I said, I didn't catch all of it.
Yeah, Monster Hunter.
Now you're talking about it. Now, man, I need to finish that.
We got Adrian wanting to join us on that one.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, for sure, bro.
Yeah.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome for that one. But yeah, I have to check that. I've never seen that before. And Serge, you gotta finish watching the Monster Hunter, man. It was awesome. It was a great film.
Well, where can y'all see it on? Like where is it available?
I watched it. Nick gave me a website. I think it's 6movies.net or movie6.net. It's one of them. I always get it confused, but I watched it on there. I had watched it on there, so
I have the Blu-ray. So.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me that.
We'll just send it on over.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We'll send it on over.
Yeah, it's an awesome film. We also see some other monsters I know you like this. We see some other monsters in this film right after they have the encounter with Diablos, because Diablos they get in their cars and they finally try to get away from them, and they run into this cave. So now this sequence was really unexpected. Okay, so we saw like these huge spiders, man. Uh, I mean, this was a pretty awesome scene. And so, DJ, if you could talk to me about the sequence of the spiders, what was your biggest takeaway of seeing the spiders? Because I mean, they when they hunt you, and they run in packs. It was
Yeah,
so many of them. So, what was your biggest takeaway from the spiders in this film?
that spider sequence was almost straight out of Aliens. I mean, just there was just a mess of them, like all over the place, and it was like no matter what you did, you couldn't keep them off you. And
Shoot.
they weren't just trying to rip you to shreds either. They were trying to get you to bring you back to their nest to like
Mm-hmm.
harvest you for something, whether it was food or to implant their offspring in you or whatever. Like they don't really make it very clear, but they definitely do something to you in their nest, and it's like the likelihood of you surviving once you're in the nest is next to nil. So yeah, like what happened to Ti, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, like I was just like, damn.
I want to say his name. What is his link? Look, it's something with an L.
What it says here.
But yeah, that okay. So when and I think Diablos maybe started those spiders, because remember he was trying to ram into that cave and he couldn't get in there. So he tried and he just kind of walked off. And I like how he just walked off and he just went right, back under the sand. That was really, really cool. But the first spider ended up grabbing Natalie, and I don't know what that spider was doing to Natalie. It looked like it was almost paralyzing her because she was just like she couldn't move, she couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And boom, they left her. They tried the CPR, they tried everything, and well, actually, I'm gonna back up. When Dash, when they saw Diablo, she was like, "You see how big that thing was? She didn't want to fight more. She had to leave." That was me. I don't look. We can't take on these monsters. Not with these little guns we got. And but anyway, the spiders, like you said, DJ. Oh man, they took her back to the nest. She woke up. She was trapped. I was like, oh my gosh. She got out the nest, and then when they did that shot, when they kind of panned away from her to see where she was at, man, that was insane. And as he's traveling out the cage, Ti he scared me because I jumped when he grabbed her. I'm like, dang, where he come from? So apparently the spider is pretty much wiped out the rest of the team, because she did see some faces of the team when she got out the nest. And right when they were getting out, I know Ti was saying he couldn't move, he was hurting. And he lifted up his shirt. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, what happened?
Like boils or whatever. I mean, it was just like huge bubbling blisters and everything. It's like, oh my gosh.
Now when I watch this movie, and then it gets to that scene, I'm just going to be like,
yeah.
They did him dirty.
Yeah. And he was like, you just got to go. But when she left, she's running out. At this point, she's running out the cave. Natalie's running out the cave. And once she gets out the cave, Spider grabs her. So she's kicking, she's fighting, and she has a flare. And I think the bullets kind of just sets off, and that kind of helps her get out. Well, right when she get out the cave, she's resting behind a rock. And then when she heard the spider again, she turned around. But the daylight saved her, because had that daylight not been out, man, she would have been a goner. But it was a good balance between the spiders, because we saw them quite a bit in this film, which I thought was good. But oh man, they did Ti wrong, man. I was like, oh my gosh, what? And the spiders was crawling out of him. Oh man, it was.
that'll do it.
Yeah, that's a bad part. That's
That'll ruin your Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But then we get to meet Tony Jaa.
Yeah, he was awesome, DJ. You want? And I was actually about to talk about old Tony Jaa, man, the hunter. I really I liked his character, because apparently he's, he doesn't really know. He just know he had the humans crossed over into their world before, and like, look, we don't want y'all over here, and you're over here because he had an awesome combat scene with Natalie. He had two of them actually, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed them. So DJ, talking about Tony Jaa, tell me a little bit about his character in this film and what you liked about about his character in this film.
So he's our first introduction. Like you mentioned before, we get kind of a glimpse of the humans that are in this monster world. At the very beginning, they're on, like you said, a ship and everything like that. And we kind of get to see Tony Jaa's character, but he gets knocked overboard. And then, we don't know anything about him after that because then it cuts to Mia Jovovich's crew. And I don't know any of the characters' names because I'm always horrible about paying attention.
What is her name? I can't pronounce her last name.
Mia Jovovich.
Okay.
Oh, Mia Jovovich.
Oh, I had it right. Mia. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, so she gets out, like you said, she's in the daylight and everything, stumbles onto Tony Jaa's character, and he immediately doesn't really trust her. Like, he's fighting for his survival and everything. He kind of feels sympathetic to her, but he, like I said, he doesn't trust her yet. And so through their struggles, he finally gets her back to his safe haven that he's created for himself, which is like a little alcove that he figured out how to create, like a trap door with some spikes and everything, which helps keep the spiders out at nighttime. So he's got a place to rest and recuperate and stuff. But yeah, he's a hunter from the actual world and stuff. So he's decked out in the monster skins, and he's got some really cool weapons and everything. And I found it interesting that they had a language barrier between them.
Yeah, that was cool.
That, to me, that was unexpected because I know he's popular in Thailand and everything like that. That's where he's from and stuff. So I wasn't really expecting that, but it was a nice addition because it makes sense. In their world, there should be different dialects and stuff like that, just like in ours. So, yeah, his introduction was pretty cool, and I thought he did a great job throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't really say anything bad about his character, especially when they had the first combat scene. That was a really, really good scene because the fight wasn't too long, but it wasn't too short. And I will say, when he knocked her out cold with that kick,
yeah, dude. I mean, this guy flies, and in his movies, in the past, The Protector and stuff. There was one scene where he just came flying into the room and did a knee blast to some big guy's chest, just flew in there and stuff. He's up there. He's one of the really cool, crazy martial artists and stuff. So,
man, if I was a martial artist, I'd be just like that. That's awesome, dude. He laid her out with that kick, and she just boom, and she fell back because and she was and Mia was trying to hold her own, but. He got on the first fight.
It's got to be good when Donald does that laugh.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And then they have the second fight. Now the second fight was serious, but it was a little more playful because when she finally was about to drink that water, he kicked that bowl over, and she was about to do something to him because she called him ungrateful. And then those statues he had, she looked at it. She was like, yeah. And he got serious. She was like, oh, no, you want to play, so let's play. I liked that. That was a pretty cool interaction. Yeah. And then when he rolled over and she tried to take off and run, that was awesome, too. So they had a really good I'll say how would you describe their relationship, DJ, from the point to where they first started to where they ended up?
It was a kind of like a soldiers of fortune, mutual respect. They're testing each other out because again, there's that language barrier. So it's he kind of understands some of the words she's saying, or maybe he understands all of them. It's kind of hard to tell. But his dialect is very broken as far as what we would consider common or English. And so the fights help them to, bridge that gap. Like, they're not really trying to kill each other, but they're trying to get their point across, kind of thing. So, like I said, it from beginning to after that second fight, they develop a good mutual respect. They see each other as fellow warriors, fellow soldiers, and somebody that's got their back when the need arises.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your assessment on that. And I will say this as well. When they had that second fight, I think this was the change in the dynamic with them when they're fighting, and he actually gets ready to fall into the spider hole, and here comes the spiders, and she has just enough strength to pull him up, because if she let him go, he's a goner.
Yeah.
And without him, she's gonna be a goner, because he's been helping her kind of guide her and lead her. Because like you said, DJ, he's already a monster hunter, so this is what he does. So he
Mhm.
has everything he needs, to go against the spiders. He knows to be watchful for Diablos who's still out there. And so once she
And
saves
he
him,
knows how to activate the weapon special abilities.
yeah, and that was really really cool. Now that's when it really started getting serious. That's when I really 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 start getting into the film, because after after Mia saves the hunter from the falling in the hole, she gives him the chocolate, because she's like, "I'm not your enemy." She pulled out the Hershey bar. He started mauling it, and that was really really cool. And then he finally gave her some water, and she was just chugging the water. And then that's when they came up with the plan to look. We got to get back home, and it's crazy because you see Diablo just circling under the sand, and like if I'm in that position, that's something I don't even want to try, because it's so scary. You don't want to go out there. Not with something that big and that fast.
And that
Like,
and that's where, like, their plan to escape and get past Diablo and stuff and fight them is again very reminiscent of Tremors. So there's a very similar point
I gotta go back and
where the
watch
village,
this.
like the heroes of the story, are like, okay, we gotta get out of this town because it's a death trap. We got to figure out a way, and they figure out how to kind of get past the giant worms and stuff. And I'm not gonna spoil it or whatever, but like I said, very reminiscent of that. So
Yeah, because they really had to become a team to actually, for both of them to get back to where they were trying to get back to. And I will say, when he starts training her and showing her, that's when she made the transition from Ranger to Hunter, because she caught
mhm.
on pretty quick and fast. And when they was holding up the the swords, and it kind of caught them, and she dropped them when they caught on fire. She was like, "You can't be doing that without telling nobody." He just started laughing, like he was like, "It is what it is." But I
Yeah,
thought that was a really cool interaction, especially when she was like, "Let's do this," and he kind of just looked at her, and she was like, "Never mind, let, let's just go." So that barrier that you talk about, as far as the language, DJ, that's really really accurate, and
yeah,
they did a great job with balancing between the two characters. Because after Mia loses her team, it's just her and him out there trying
yeah,
to figure it out. So I thought that was cool. And when he made her be bait for the spider, oh, I mean, she still could have died had that spider like end up like poking her,
yeah,
and she was like, "Next time you're bait." But that was an awesome shot when he jumped off with the big old sword, and that was cool. When he jumped off
yeah.
and he just split that Spider Man, and after he did that, hit him all the other spiders. So those spiders, man, they ain't nothing to
And
play
that
with.
and that's another thing out of the game. Like, when you're playing a multiplayer,
Uh huh.
like, you could designate, like, one, if you're working as a team really well, one person will be like, okay, I'm going to take the head of the monster, keep him distracted, while you guys come up from behind and like hammer at his weaker
Mm.
points. So, typically that the person that's taking the head will usually have the heavier armor and a good solid weapon that can last for a while and stuff. Because one of the aspects in the video game is you have to actually resharpen your tools, your weapons and stuff as you use them.
Oh wow,
You
I
don't
like
just
that. That sounds cool.
That's what I was
yeah,
actually going to ask. I'm still in the '90s with video games and everything, so that's why I was gonna ask if this movie was based on a video game or something.
Yeah. So Monster Hunter's been around for quite a long time. It started out on the PS2. It was one of the first games to really utilize the network functionality of the PS2. Got
Oh wow.
popular on the PSP, especially in Japan, because it had the Wi-Fi connection and everything. And what the game is focused around is you're a hunter starting out. You're in a small settlement and everything. And the idea is you go out and you fight monsters that are both herbivores and carnivores.
Mm.
And as you fight the monsters and kill them, you can harvest parts from them. And you use those parts to upgrade your gear. So you could get stronger weapons, stronger armor. You could also gather herbs and mushrooms and other things like that to make potions and stuff. And eventually you figure out how to like make dynamite and stuff like that. So that way you can create like traps and everything. And the bigger like all the monsters kind of have a specialty, but the bigger ones have like super specialties. So like one will be more of like a stunning type. So like its attacks are designed to paralyze you and stun you. Then you got like fire breathing ones or poison breathing or different things like that. And even the herbivores, they may be peaceful and grazing in the grass and stuff, but you provoke them, they're gonna stomp on you if you're not careful. So, and then there's like some smaller ones that will hunt in packs, kind of like velociraptors. So,
Ooh.
and then you got like the big ones that are like the T-Rexes, and then you got the dragons and variations of those. And so yeah, in the video game series, like I said, it's all about hunting the monsters, carving them up, getting the materials, so that way you can build up your gear and you can get the strongest weapons and stuff like that. And there's the newest game, which is on the modern consoles and stuff, really exemplifies that. And from like I tried it out, but it's just not really my game style.
Uh-huh.
But there's people out there that, and like the stuff that they've figured out how to like create and everything, and like the special monsters that they've fought as teams and stuff is just awesome. Like I've seen some people fighting like a giant dragon thing in the middle of a lava pit. So,
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
So
Well,
yeah.
I will say this: I saw the Toho logo at the beginning of the film too. I was like, "Oh wow, that's awesome!" So they were a part of, actually a part of this film, which was great. So I was really excited to see that legendary logo. Uh, it's always good seeing Toho work on something. Um, DJ, now we have Ja and Mia versus the Diablos, and so now this is the actual fight because now they figured out a plan. They've got the poison from the spider, and now they are ready to fight. This time, instead of Mia being the bait, Ja's the bait. And so take me a little bit through this sequence where they actually fight the Diablos. How did you feel about this particular action scene? Now, instead of fighting against each other, they're fighting with each other. So what was your biggest takeaway from the battle with Diablos?
Okay, before you go, so I'm gonna dip out here from the video
Okay.
partially because now I want to see for myself what happens at the end.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So yeah, because I haven't seen it, I haven't seen the end, so I want to see it. Don't ruin it for.
Well, you dip out, Serge.
Yeah, I'm
All
dip
right.
out. And then also to and for everybody else out there, my family, we all for the most part we all got sick with COVID this week, so I'm trying to get to everybody to bed kind of early. Everybody's still kind of recovering and stuff, so including myself. So, but it was good to be back.
All right, man. Good seeing you. Praying for you
It's
and your
great seeing
family
you again.
always, brother.
Yeah, awesome to see you guys too. Yeah, I'll catch y'all later. See
Take
y'all.
it easy.
Peace.
So yeah. So what's cool about this is when when we were talking earlier about the spider scene where Mia was the bait for them and everything.
Uh-huh.
You know, that was the first instance of them showing each other the mutual respect towards each other.
Mhm.
So this is, and what was interesting about that is they were relying on Tony Jaa's hunter specialty, like special knowledge for that sequence, because he was the one that knew like we need to get this particular part from the monster to use
Ah,
for the next battle. So rather than Mia wildly attacking it and potentially damaging the part that they need, that's why she was the bait, because Tony Jaa's character knew like, okay, I have to hit the monster this way so that way we can preserve the stinger, so that way we could get the poison that we need for the next battle. So then we get to the next battle, and this time around they're planning on using the military equipment to help
mm,
damage them, along with the gear, their monster gear that they already have. So that's why the roles are switched as well, because Mia's the one that knows exactly what to look for from her jeeps and everything
right.
to be able to be the most effective against the Diablos. So, so I thought that they did a really good job, getting that game plan without like making it apparent to the audience without them sitting down and being like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, like blah 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 blah. Like all that took place off screen, which was nice because it's like, okay,
Right.
they have a plan. Okay, now I understand what their plan is. Like, cool. Let's go and do this thing. So
Yeah, that was a pretty good breakdown. That was a great assessment you made, DJ. And I will say, actually, when they're fighting Diablos, the Diablo shoots him right. Ah, man.
right in the eye. Yeah.
And I just knew it once he let it go, and just how they were showing it. I'm like, oh man, and it hit him in the eye. And what happened was they began to work as a team. So
Hmm.
I thought that was really cool and really special. And it was funny because after he got done, right before the Diablo test, he was like, bait. He was so he goes and he starts running. But I will say that they did a really good job with the Diablos with his movements.
Hmm.
His roar was pretty good, and he finally used his tail, because from the first few instances we saw him, he didn't use his tail, but he used his
Yeah.
tail a couple times. Um, I know he used it on Mia. I think when she was hitting, I think maybe she was hitting him, and he came with his tail, or either it was the jaw. He used his tail on one of them,
Yeah.
and man, I've seen him hit so many vehicles in this scene. But that was a really really awesome fight. Daylight, you can see what's going on, you can see what's happening, and they made a really really good team.
Yeah. And his actions are again straight out of the video game. Like in Monster Hunter games, the monsters do use their tails as weapons as well. So it's not just them always trying to chomp you with their mouths and stuff or breathe fire on you. They're using their tails. What's cool in the video games is you could actually cut the tail off if you damage it the right way, and so
Oh,
that eliminates that weapon from their arsenal against you. So that's sometimes when you're hunting in the game, that's one of the things that
uh-huh.
you'll focus on is like trying to get that tail cut off, but you have to have the right weapon to do it. Um, so yeah, his yeah.
Well, let me ask you this question, DJ. So for the Monster Hunter game, like if I wanted to just say go watch the gameplay, is it more like an adventure game? You have to get to like point A to point B, because this probably be something I'll pull up tonight while I'm dozing off
So
in bed.
so the way that it works is you're in like a village,
Hmm.
and it acts as your hub. And so like in the newest one, um, you're part of an expedition that's exploring like an island or something like that. And so
Uh-huh.
there's different areas that you unlock as you progress through the storyline. Um, but typically, like you'll get a mission, and so you go out to a certain area and you have a certain monster that you're hunting, or certain resources that you're trying to gather, or whatever. Um, and uh, so like when you're playing solo, you'll see like NPCs walking around and stuff, and there is a storyline, at least in this newest game, where, like I said, it's an expedition kind of thing, and so you're kind of working with these other people, and there's like scientists and craftsmen and stuff like that, and so they're like, yeah, go and get me this part, or go and hunt this monster, or we need this, plant or something like that. So there's different things to do, and that's how you build up not only materials but also money and other supplies and stuff. And then there's like food that you could cook that'll boost your stats and stuff during the mission or for a set amount of time. And like I said, there's potions that you could create or buy. There's traps. There's different types of weapons. You got the bows and arrows. You got crossbows. You got cannons. You got spears and shields. You got giant swords. You got small swords. You got all sorts of different kinds of stuff.
Dang, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
yeah, I have to check that out, DJ. I'll have to look into that. So, because like I said, this is my first time watching this actual film, and then now this is my first time actually hearing about the game. Because I went through like a phase where I wasn't like watching games or movies, so it's probably a lot of movies that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
So it was times where I didn't have cable or times I was moving. So it's been a lot of movies that I need to go back and catch up on and check out. But I will look into that. I'll look into that game.
Yeah, me and a buddy of mine used to play the Monster Hunter on the PSP back in the day, and we actually took like a trip together, and when we weren't out doing activities and stuff like that, when we were just hanging out at the hotel room or whatever, we were sitting there playing it. And I remember like one of the downsides of this game is like sometimes there's a specific monster that you have to hunt in order to get a specific material. And I remember me and him spent so much time fighting this one monster that we both needed to get like a certain item in order to unlock like the next tier of upgrades. And it took us forever, but we finally beat the thing, and we got like the most common item that you could get out of it. It wasn't even what we needed, and both of us were like, "All right, that's it, we're done."
I mean, at this point, I put all this effort and hard work into trying to retrieve something special, and I get one of the most common things that really can't help me. I have a few more questions, DJ, and then we'll wrap up. How would you describe Mia's Jovovich character in this film? Well, throughout the film, I would say.
I thought she did a really good job, playing a, tough as nails soldier kind of thing. She's definitely developed that leadership role over the years for, being in the Resident Evil series and stuff like that. So she's definitely gotten that leadership role down pat, I think. And so, and that was one of the other interesting aspects to her character too, is she was her team lead. So she was responsible for a team, and she lost her team, and she had to humble herself with regards to Tony Jaa's character, because he knows what's going on in this world. He understands how that world operates, and he knows how to survive in it. She doesn't. And so for her to, finally, acknowledge that, like, okay, if I'm going to survive, I need his expertise. I need to follow his lead and take a step back, was good. It wasn't just like, I'm Mia Jovovich, I know how to do everything. I don't need you. I'm going to do whatever I want. And because unfortunately there are some movies where you have characters that are like that, where you're like, I know how to do everything. I don't need any growth. I don't need to develop. Like, I'm perfect, whatever.
Right.
So, so the fact that she was able to portray that well, like, because at the very beginning it was very much, I'm the leader of my troop. I'm going to get us through. They're gone. I'm going to lead myself, and and it was like, no, take a step back. We gotta work together. So, so I enjoyed her portrayal in this.
Yeah, me too. And I think you gave her a pretty good assessment about her humbling herself, because you see I mean, pretty much your team is gone. Everybody you came on this mission with, they're no longer there anymore. So
Mhm.
now you're meeting somebody who knows about these monsters, somebody who knows a little bit more than you do. So now you have to kind of fall back, learn, and see what this person that's in front of you are doing. I will say, as I was watching this film, I actually thought about Doris because she reminds me of Doris, very headstrong,
Mhm.
right? Do whatever it takes, kind of personality. And so I definitely admired her about that in this film. She was very strong, had a very very strong and firm belief. Um, but like you said, and I will say the comparison I made earlier in the show is where she really wasn't a ranger anymore. So now you're in a world where you have to be a hunter, right?
Mhm.
Because now the weapons you're used to using are not working. So now
No.
you adapt it, and now you're using all kinds of swords. All these swords have powers. You're learning how to hunt. You're learning different plans and strategies and techniques that's going to help you. So
Mhm.
I really enjoy her character a lot. She had a lot of growth, very headstrong, firm in what she believed in. So I really enjoyed her character a lot throughout this film. DJ, I'm gonna stay with you here. We see so many different monsters in this film, from the Apsaros, the Diablos, the Rathalos. Which monster was your favorite in this film, and why? We have the
Uh,
spiders as well. Forgot all about
yeah.
the spiders.
Um, Rathalos always holds a special place for me, um, because it's the closest that you get to like a full blown dragon. And
Yeah,
I've always been a huge fan of dragons in all their different forms. Western dragons, Eastern dragons, love them all, and which is part of the reason why I'm such a big Godzilla fan because he's the ultimate dragon.
right,
Um,
right, right on, brother.
um, so as cool and awesome as Diablos was, um, I was really excited to see Rathalos when he appeared, and um, really enjoyed how how they got him. Like they did him right as well. You know, they didn't make him dumb. They made him cunning and conniving with his attacks on the group and everything. So
Yeah, when they set that Apsaros on fire, and all of them start running like a stampede. And I don't know, for some reason I thought that I thought he was gonna die. I thought this character, I was like, oh man, he's not gonna make it. And when they're
yeah,
running in the stampede, he didn't have no choice but to run because he didn't have any fire. He had nothing. So I'm like, oh, here it is. And then out of nowhere, his people come back and get him because I thought they were dead. Here at the
yeah,
beginning of the film, all you see is the ship just is kind of getting dragged, and he
yeah.
makes it. So I thought that was real cool. Um, I thought that was real cool. The Rathalos is my favorite as well. Like you said, can fly, can breathe fire, and another awesome scene in that film when Mia character tells the Admiral, "Thank you, thank you." He was like, "Don't thank me yet." Pap! He just hit her, and that caught me off guard.
Uh,
But yeah, that was my favorite. And I just yelled out Angier's name when I saw the app Zeros. I was like, Angiers, I immediately yelled it out. But yeah, that was definitely my favorite monster, and they did a great job with balancing all these monsters. Didn't
mhm.
show them too much, too little. So it was great.
And they made him believable in the world. They didn't
Right,
like
right,
stick
right.
out. You know, it was like okay, I could see that creature living and breathing in that world.
Now that part of the world they went to where the Apsaros was, excuse me, that was really really that was beautiful. I mean, she saw
Mhm.
water, she saw plants and trees. I'm like, okay, now we're not just looking at the desert. So she's kind of excited because and that's another thing when she was going to get that water and that thing came out the sand, and he was like, bait. Man, he played too much.
Yeah.
It kind of made me jump because I wasn't expecting that. So that was really really awesome. DJ, talk to me about some of your favorite or most intense scenes in this film.
Definitely the final fight with Rathalos, on that platform,
Yeah.
because I mean, they had no qualms about killing off all the soldiers right at the beginning, and and that's the truth of the Monster Hunter world. Like, there's no guarantee that you're going to survive. Like, you could think you have the
Right.
best gear, but if you do the wrong thing, if you wear yourself out, if you don't have healing potions or whatever in the game, like, you could get knocked out, and it's game over if you get knocked out too many times. Like, sometimes the game can be forgiving, but it's not gonna be a walk in the park unless you're going after the very basic beginning herbivores that are just kind of standing there waiting for you to kill them. when you're when you're fighting the real ones, man, they, like I said, they're going to use everything at their disposal: their claws, their breath weapons, their tails. They're going to fly up and drop on you. Sometimes they're going to just take off and go, try and catch their breath, and get ready for round two. Um, so yeah, that last fight, like, I honestly thought I was expecting everybody to die. I was like, they're going up against Rathalos. Like, I know that they got some good gear and everything like that, but like, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
they're just
thought at least half of them was gonna get wiped.
yeah,
I really, especially when he peeked inside that rock and he saw me. I said, here we go.
because they're. I mean, for the most part, they were just out in the open on that platform. That
Right,
plateau with
right.
and that's like one of the worst ways to fight that guy, because like, if you got
Yeah,
no cover, you got nothing to dodge behind and hide from his flame attack, and like,
he's flying around and the one thing that I thought would be really bad, I'm like, no, that's not gonna happen. But I said to myself, it's gonna happen when Mia fell. And when she fell and she went into that other world, and I said, he's gonna come right behind her. He's gonna come and he's gonna fall right in, and that's what happened. I mean, he came and he he fell into that other world, and she had to fight him there too.
yeah,
And my boys, y'all came to help her. So again, respect and teamwork. But Rathalos, that was definitely um, one of my favorite scenes. Just seeing him, right, breathe the fire, shoot the fire. The spiders, they had a pretty good sequence, man. Those things are pretty deadly, man. They hunt in packs. They just don't hunt in one. Like, they all
yeah,
come. So, but I enjoyed all the monsters in this film. But yeah,
yeah,
even the combat scenes were great between Mia and Ja. They have some great combat, and but yeah, it was overall Rathalos. He takes the cake because he's like the final boss, and he's
yeah.
like the boss of all bosses. Can fly like a dragon, like you said, can blow fire. And then that was not the smartest place in the world to try to fight him, like you alerted to, DJ, because we on top of this platform and we don't have nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
Like, our gear might be good, but how good is our gear if we get cooked or barbecued by one of these fireballs? So,
Yeah. And and that, going back again to the equipment and the respect that they showed to the game, the fact that everybody had something different, and
mhm.
that's typically how you play multiplayer. Is like, everybody kind of specializes on one type of weapon, maybe two types of weapons, and they focus on that, and so that's what they gather their resources for and everything like that, because each weapon has its own specialties. It has its own way of damaging the monsters and
Mhm.
providing support and different things like that. So like, so the fact that Ron Perlman's character had that the big weapon that did the big power wave move and everything, uh, you know really cool. And then the fact that Tony Jaa was mostly focused on the big sword,
Yeah.
and then they gave Mia the twin swords. Um, so, uh, and one of the weapons you might like in the game is the giant hammers. In the video game,
Oh,
they have giant
yeah.
hammers, really big, heads, and you just smash that monster in the face, and it's like, yeah, I'm knocking your teeth out.
I got to see the gameplay on this because I really didn't know that they had a game on this. So I will definitely I would definitely be checking that out because that's
Yeah.
definitely would have been something to try to use on Rathalos. Because he caused a lot of destruction towards the end of the film when he flew into the other world. I mean, he was like when he grabbed when both of his feet were on the airplane, and the guy looked
Hmm.
down. He's like, "Oh no!" Just start ripping it off, shooting everybody with fireballs. And I'll say the ending fatality to Rathalos, that was cool. The teamwork where Mia just went for it, and she started just blowing him up, boom, 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 and then he got up one more time. I said, ah. And then that's when the job came, and he finished the job, and then I mean that was an awesome movie. And Mia was probably one of the scariest situations she could have been in. Because remember, she's on a stretcher. So
Hmm.
when the plane is getting ripped apart, she can't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's kind of just stuck. So she just can't do anything. But awesome movie. DJ, I gotta ask you this question before we go. Final question of the night. Out of 5 stars, how would you rate this film?
Um, I'm gonna go with a 4. Like, it wasn't the greatest movie I ever saw, but um, like we said at the beginning, the trailers didn't do this justice. It made it look like it was going to be like something totally different than what it ended up being. Because from the trailers, I thought that they weren't paying any respect to the video game. I thought that they were just using the creatures and just trying to bring it into our world and
Mm,
oh, we're going to struggle and blah blah blah. But the fact that they did the kind of the fish out of the water storyline, which is you know kind of a safe thing to do,
yeah.
I guess. But they actually did pay respects to the video game worlds. The gear, the creature habits, the way that everything's kind of tackled. The fact that there is different environments that you have to navigate yourself through, and in a video game you have to be careful. Like if you're in a volcano, you got to have the gear that keeps you cool. Otherwise, you can
Right.
overheat and drop dead. Same with if you're in a frozen tundra. You got to keep the gear and the items that'll keep you warm so you don't freeze to death. Um, so they did pay a lot of homage to the video game, and so I'll give it a lot more respect for that. So that's why I say 4 stars.
Yeah, I'll have to check that game out. I'm gonna go 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this film. I'll say my first time watching the film, I wasn't really expecting it to catch my attention the way that it did. And I do feel like this is a movie because my kids are into monsters. So I think they'll like the monsters more than anything as
Hmm.
far as seeing the human characters on the screen. But it was really good. Like I said, I love the job, man. He was cool, man. He was awesome. I really enjoyed his character a lot because in the beginning, I'm trying to figure him out. I don't really
Hmm.
know about him. I don't know, what his motives are. But then when him and Mia start working together, and I'm understanding him. It's not like he's just mad at them for no reason. Like, the admiral said it. Hey, you guys had people who came over into our world, so I understand his perspective a lot more. And like you were saying, DJ, he really doesn't trust her. So but he was awesome in this movie, and I don't think they could have got anybody else to team up with her like they did. So
Yeah.
I give it a 4.5. It was a really really good movie. Doris, I got to thank you for
Yep.
allowing us to watch this film. Before we close out, DJ, do you have any closing remarks that you would like to make, brother?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned before, like I had the Blu-ray for a while, but I never got around to sitting down and watching it. So, again, I'm grateful to Doris for recommending it because if she hadn't, I may still not have watched it yet. Um, and for just a little recommendation for kids, as, as far as young kids potentially
Mm-hmm.
being interested in the Monster Hunter game, there is there is a series called Monster Hunter Stories, if I'm remembering the title
Hmm.
correctly, and that one's a little bit more of a kid-friendly RPG style Monster
Okay, that's
Hunter game.
good.
so it's very cartoonish and stuff, and not as life risking as a traditional Monster Hunter. And it's started out on the 3DS, and I think the new one is on almost everything. I know it's on the Switch and PC, I think, or Steam or something like that. So, so if you want to play something with the kids or whatever, or that's safe for them to be able to play too, definitely say look that up. But yeah, enjoyed the movie. Enjoyed our conversation as always. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, man, definitely enjoyed the conversation. Definitely looking forward again to next week. Sorry, Doris, that you all couldn't be here. Remy, we know you, but you better kick school butt, man. Make us have to come
He's partying.
you up and whoop
That's
you.
what he's doing. He's at college. He's partying. He's a freshman. He's getting his initiation of partying with all the other frat boys.
And those and those who watch, we thank you for the support. And those who do go back and watch, we thank you for the support. Go ahead, DJ.
Did you decide on what movie we're watching next week?
Okay. So, all right. So, man, I either want to do Prey or the Tremors movie. But because I haven't seen the Tremors film, let's go with that. Let's do that. I think that'll be an awesome discussion. We're gonna go with that. That's what we're gonna do.
That'll be a fun one. You'll really like that.
Okay, so that's what, and it's called Tremors.
Tremors. TREMORS.
Okay, so next week movie review is going to be Tremors. So this is like my first time ever seeing this film. So I'm really stoked about watching it. And thank you guys for joining us on the Sci-Fi Nerds podcast. In my mind, I want to say Godzilla. But I am one of the hosts. I am Donald.
I'm DJ.
DJ.